Welcome to the last cast segment here for October 19th, 2013. Here on the Outdoor Line. On the show today, on the Three Rivers Marine Tech Line, we talked spinners.
We did.
A lot of cohos jumping on spinners here right now on all the rivers here in Washington. And kind of a go-to technique. You know, we talked about wiggle warts here a couple weeks ago. That video is very popular and just as effective right now is the whole spinner drill. Hoochie spinners have been working really well out on the coast, as well as just your straight spinners here on the North Puget Sound rivers. Got a bunch of different spinners here. I like the purples and the blues and the size 5s here on the North Puget Sound rivers, Southwest Washington rivers. These work really well. I really like the number 5. It casts well. It's a little heavier. It has a really pronounced thump to it when you're reeling, so it's a lot easier to feel what's going on down there. It just works really well. Another spinner that Blue Fox came out with is the Bullitt spinner. And this one's really taken off here. It's really heavy. So if you see a bell on a Vibrax, the bell is kind of hollow and it's got that little resonation chamber deal up in there. Well, the bell on this Bullitt spinner is solid lead. They're really heavy and they get downtown. Man, you can cast them a country mile. They've got this offset blade, so you don't even have to give them a pop to get them going. All you got to do is start reeling and they are spinning and they're downtown where you need to be.
And I really think it's important to make that distinction between the clevisless offset, almost Panther Martin style blade. So the shaft of the spinner actually penetrates that blade. On a traditional French style fluted blade, you actually have a clevis, okay, and that's a little extra added part. So with the inlines, there's no way that the water can hit that and not have it spin. Sometimes the clevis blade will spin a little quicker, but this is quicker acting. It's a little faster on its feet.
It is.
As soon as it hits water.
It spins faster. Right. The nice thing about the old standard Vibrax, it's got a real pronounced thump.
It does.
The whole blade's spinning around there, so it gives off a lot of vibration. They work really well, but I tell you what, we've been having a lot of luck on these Bullitt spinners too. And if you're just getting into this, these things are really easy to use. It takes a while to get the hang of a Vibrax because they're just a little bit lighter. You throw them out there, you got to let them sink for a little ways, get them down by the bottom. You got to give them a pop to get them going. These things, you just throw them out, let them sink just a little bit because they're so heavy, and start cranking, and you're going to be catching fish.
Without question. There's only one argument I have with the setup of this. Quite often with a spinner blade, it works and it's abrasive on the top bead. You want to look for a metal bead right underneath the blade. It's just a better bearing surface. That plastic bead on that will eventually wear. So if you're sending those guys a product recommendation, that's something I would mention to them. With regard to setting up your spinner, some of them come with trebles, some of them come with singles. It's very important to check the regs. Treble hooks are very effective, but they're also effective at snagging the bottom. This is a factory Blue Fox, okay, Vibrax. Yeah. It has the Siwash hook snapped right into the bottom of the shaft. I like actually a little more space. You can see on this one it has a split ring going to a swivel, and then the hook is on there on a hoochie. There's nothing the matter with having that hook just a little bit farther behind that spinner.
Definitely.
It's going to hook them up a little bit more effectively, and they're not going to have as much leverage. The fish is not going to have as much leverage when he opens his mouth and shakes his head.
And the nice thing about putting a split ring in there as well, it's a lot easier to switch out the hooks when it's time to change this hook out. Now here's another one that Blue Fox came out with actually last year, and I haven't really had a chance to use these yet.
I want to toss that thing
This is the Super Vibrax. It's got 2 blades on it. 2
Colorado style blades.
I've fished them a little bit. I haven't, I haven't had a chance to actually use them for cohos yet, but I've done some fishing with them just to see how they work. They're just wicked. They're a little more expensive. They do come with a treble hook, which is actually illegal on a lot of the rivers. But I want to see some guys trying these things out because I tell you what, this thing it should be just wicked for silvers and kings here in the rivers.
Well, and you've seen there's been a bit of thought go into the design of the spinner, because what we have are not stacked clevises, but we have interlaced clevises. In other words, they've assembled this spinner.
That way, this thing they rotate on opposite sides of one another.
Exactly. They will always be on the opposite side. So that's a very interesting aspect of spinner design. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Now, Robbo, as we toss these things in a creek and work them, there's a couple of functional elements that we need to discuss, and one of them is letting these things sink and then getting that spinner to turn over initially.
You're going to throw it out as far as you can, get it up in the wood, wherever the cohos are rolling, get it up in there. Usually, and I won't even shy away from throwing it way upriver, okay? With steelhead and whatnot, you want to sweep it across the river downstream of you, but with cohos, kings, it doesn't matter. Way upriver, get it up along the bank and bring it downstream through them, and you want to be reeling as slow as possible while still having that blade rotating around. You just want it just thumping along down by the bottom. You don't want to be on the bottom. If you're ticking the bottom, reel a little faster, maybe bring your tip up. If you bring your tip up a little bit, it'll raise that spinner up. You want to be a foot or two off the bottom, and then keep that up all the way to the rod tip, because a lot of times, I'll tell you what, especially if the water's a little murky, they'll chase this thing right to the bank or right to the side of the boat, and you'll watch them hit it right there.
You can't overemphasize that point. Don't quit on a retrieve.
Yeah.
Don't quit 10 feet from the rod tip. Don't quit 5 feet from the rod tip.
Yeah.
You can stop at the rod tip, okay? When you can see that spinner almost, because I mean, you got to retrieve it there anyway to cast it on the next cast. Fish that thing literally right to the rod tip.
And a lot of guys will quit and just start cranking halfway in. No,
do not
just
quit.
keep reeling nice and slow all the way back. Because trust me, you do this long enough, you'll eventually see that shit and go, wow, he was right. I mean, you'll see that thing, and you might even see one chase it. If you see one chase it, throw right back to the same spot and do the exact same thing, because that fish is interested in your spinning. You'll probably get him on the next cast.
Well, and I tell you what, if you get one to bite within 4 or 5 feet of the rod tip and you see him do it, that's going to be one of the most exciting things you can have happen in a river fishing for salmon. It's just a tremendous, you'll never forget it.
So color-wise, low clear water like we have right now, the blues, the purples, the greens work really well. The rivers come up a little bit, go to chartreuse. The oranges, the pinks, a lot of the brighter colors, and if you're out there on the coast, definitely rig a hoochie mama up on the back of that thing. The little mini hoochies in oranges, pinks, chartreuses, even some of the purple colors work well. The hoochie thing works really good out on the coastal rivers. Here in the Puget Sound, or maybe the Southwest Washington rivers, not so much. Just a straight spinner works really well.
Well, and don't forget, just because we're talking about coho doesn't mean that winter steelhead, particularly hatchery fish, won't whack a spinner in low clear water conditions too.
Yeah, definitely. Be surprised. We've caught some late summer runs too doing this. They'll whack one of those things. There's still a few of them around in the rivers. There you go. There's some spinner tech for you here for late October 2013. Go out there, catch some cohos. Don't forget to post your photos on the outdoorline.com forums. We'll see you next week here on the Outdoor Line on 710 ESPN Seattle.